Senator Mikulski. Before you start, Senator, a vote is due to start at 4. It's 5 after 4. Senator Chambliss went to vote. As soon as he returns, I will go. We will just keep this going, so members be guided by that.
So should I just jump in?
The vote just started. You please go ahead.
Mr. Brennan, first of all, welcome to the committee. And in the short time I have, you've mentioned your wife, Kathy. Could you introduce us to her?
Yes, this is my wonderful, beautiful wife, Kathy. Been my spouse for 34 years and my partner in my work. And my brother, Thomas, also is here from New Jersey.
Well, we'd like to welcome you, and we know that not only will you serve, but your entire family has served and will continue to serve. And I'm going to echo the remarks of my colleague, Senator Warner, thanking the people of the Central Intelligence Agency for what they do every day in every way, working often in a way that is not known, not recognized, and quite frankly, not always appreciated. So let me get to my questions. I have been concerned for some time that there is a changing nature of the CIA, and then instead of it being America's top spy agency, top human spy agency, to make sure that we have no strategic surprises, that it has become more and more executing paramilitary operations. And I've discussed this with you in our conversation. How do you see this? I see this as mission creep. I see this as overriding the original mission of the CIA, for which you're so well versed, and more a function of the Special Operations Command. Could you share with me how you see the CIA and what you think about this militarization of the CIA that's going on?
Thank you, Senator. And thank you.
You might disagree with me, and I welcome your disagreement if you so do so.
Senator, the principal missions of the agency is to collect intelligence, uncover those secrets, as you say, to prevent those strategic surprises, and to be the best analytic component within the U.S. government, to do the all-source analysis that CIA has done so well for many, many years. At times, the President asks and directs the CIA to do covert action. That covert action can take any number of forms, to include paramilitary. And as we've discussed here today on the counterterrorism front, there are things that the agency has been involved in since 9/11 that, in fact, have been a bit of an aberration from its traditional role. One of the things that I would do if I would go back to the agency is to take a look at that allocation of mission within CIA, the resources that are dedicated to this. And as we had the discussion when I paid my courtesy call, I am concerned that looking at the world, which is a very big place, we need to make sure we have the best intelligence collection capabilities possible and the best analytic capabilities possible. And the CIA should not be doing traditional military activities and operations.
Well, I appreciate that and look forward to working with you on this to really identify what's appropriate to CIA and to DOD, which then takes me to the issue of cyber threat. Both Secretary Panetta, both General Dempsey, and so on have all, and we, in your role, your current role at the White House, have talked about the cyber threat. You were a big help in trying to help us get the cyber legislation passed. Now, tell us what you think is the role of the CIA in dealing with the cyber threat in the area of human intelligence, with the CIA. You have a unique insight into it. We know what NSA does. We know what Homeland Security is supposed to do. Tell us where you see the CIA in this.
Well, first of all, the cyber threat that this country faces is one of the most insidious, one of the most consequential to our national security, and one that I think that our government as a whole and this body, the Congress, really needs to be focused on and do everything possible to prevent a devastating attack against this country because of our vulnerabilities on the cyber front. CIA's traditional mission on the collection front is to try to determine the the plans and intentions of foreign governments, foreign groups, subnational groups, and others. Learning about those plans and intentions and the development of capabilities in the cyber world is something that CIA, I think, is best placed to do, so that we have an understanding of what foreign countries are doing, what organized criminal organizations are doing, what subnational groups are doing, and the nature of the threat to us. Then, in addition, the analysts at CIA can take that information, working with the rest of the community, to make sure that policymakers have a good sense of the nature of the threat and some potential mitigation strategies. And then, working with NSA, Department of Homeland Security, and others, put together that structure that's going to make this country resistant and resilient to those attacks.
Well, Mr. Brennan, I really look forward to working with you on this, because this cuts across all the agencies, the FBI, those that have responsibility for work outside of this country, inside this country, and yet we all have to be doing what we're, to use a Marine Corps saying, be best that we're best at and best that we're most needed for. I consider this one of the greatest threats and one of the greatest vulnerabilities, because we failed to pass the legislation ourselves. We can't stop what foreign predators want to do. We can divert, identify, an attack, but we are making ourselves vulnerable. Now, I'm going to get to the job of the CIA director. I'm going to be blunt, and which would be no surprise to you, sir, but I've been on this committee for more than 10 years, and with the exception of Mr. Panetta, I feel I've been jerked around by every CIA director. I've either been misled, misrepresented, had to pull information out, often at the most minimal kind of way. From Tenet with his little aluminum rods to tell us that we had weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, to Porter Goss, not forthcoming. You know the problems we've had on torture. The chair has spoken eloquently about it all the way. And quite frankly, during those questions, they were evaded, they were distorted, et cetera. So my question to you is, knowing your background, knowing your Jesuit education, knowing what I think your values are, can I have your word that you're going to be very forthcoming with this committee to speak truth to power, to speak truth about power, and even when it's uncomfortable or where we're going to have to probe in a way that is not an easy way to go?
Honesty, truthfulness was a value that was inculcated in me in my home in New Jersey from my parents, Owen and Dorothy. It still is to this day. Honesty is the best policy. None of us are perfect beings. I'm far from perfect. But, Senator, I would commit that I would be honest with this committee and do everything possible to meet your legitimate needs and requirements. And as I think I've told you before, I know that you are a very proud senator of one of the jewels in the intelligence community, NSA, which resides in Maryland. But it would be my objective to make CIA your favorite intelligence agency and push Keith Alexander aside.
Well, I think you're pushing your luck now already at the hearing. Thank you very much. Madam Chair, I'm finished. Thank you very much.